Kia ora and welcome back to the CouchSide Sports Report, hosted by the CouchSide Network. Dylan, myself, Simon, we're back again to talk some smack, some trash, a lot.
Trash?
about
Is that the
sport.
opinion you have of my sports takes, Dylan?
No, that's not the opinion I have of your sports takes. It's the opinions I have of mine.
That makes more sense.
But hey, first of all, before we get into any sport, I just want to thank everybody who is watching, because we put up some TikToks of some clips from the podcast that have been going off way more than I think the both of us thought it would. So thank you so much for that, and go and follow us on TikTok, on Insta at couchside.network, and on there you'll find a bio for all the rest of our socials, as well as a link to the YouTube and also the Spotify, where you can either watch or listen to this podcast.
Oh, great vocals, mate.
Oh, I know, right? It might be so good we get copyright. No.
You ain't even sing anything, so I doubt it.
No, that is very true. This is the world. Somebody will find a way. With that being said, Simon, how's it going, mate? How's life been?
It hasn't been too bad. I spent most of last week, blowing into a tissue every 5 minutes.
I was about to say pause.
Hey, why are you going to make a joke like that 2 minutes into the podcast?
Because it's dry humor. It's my type of humor.
It's been a great,
man.
Bit sick. If you guys can tell, last week I had sore throat, the whole podcast. The second time already
but
that's
still
happened.
Committed to the team.
Still pushed out the edit when I got home. Turned into a cold.
Proud.
Isn't fun, but fully recovered now and ready to talk about the sport, talk about what's been going on, converse with you, have some opinions, have some disagreements, have some agreements, a standard episode of the Sports Report. Yeah, man. And obviously start a little bit of a conversation with you guys. Like Dylan said, had a lot more people comment
honestly unreal
on one of the TikToks about who's going to win Super Rugby. I think we had about 10. I know it's not groundbreaking numbers, but
it is for
people,
us.
We had no idea who these people were, and they're saying, oh, we want the Chiefs to win, oh, we want the Crusaders to win, and the one guy said, who did he even say was going to win? And I thought that was funny.
There was one guy also, shout out to whoever this was, that said Moana's winning it. Shout out to that guy. That would honestly be so cool. Yeah,
I'd love Moana to win it, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's actually start off.
Yeah, with the Super Rugby.
With the Super Rugby.
All right. Who's going through the results? Is it you or me?
I guess I can do it.
Go for it, my man.
I guess I can use my recently recovered voice.
Let's go.
To list off the results.
True that.
Interesting week for Super Rugby. Most teams played their 7th game of the season, halfway point. So that's very important, although the Force have played an extra game. The Chiefs, in a top-the-table clash against the Reds, prevailed 27 points to 15.
W.
Moana Pacifica, in a huge game against the Waratahs, won 45 to 28.
Tough.
The Crusaders away to Fiji, 31 to 14.
It's a monkey off the back for them as well.
Yeah, especially considering I think I've lost it twice. So
they've literally lost.
They got the
twice.
win.
Jeez.
At a very good time of the season to do so.
It's a good point.
The Blues, our beloved Blues, have beat the Hurricanes by a point, 19 to 18.
The Lord.
And then the Force beat the Highlanders at home in Perth, 29 to 20.
Yeah.
2 games in particular we're going to talk about today. The first one, I think this game's inescapable. Like, you have to talk about this game. I watched it, you didn't, but it doesn't matter because you saw the highlights. Moana Pacifica on the best form of their existence.
Yeah, that's a good point.
2 straight wins. Artie Savia still doing the same thing he's been doing every single game this season. Pellegrini, probably the Form 10 of the competition, depending who you ask. Although Bowden Barrett gave a good run for his money in his game today. And just, Moana, like, they're still 8th on the table, but their form, when you watch them play, they don't feel like a team who's 8th. They feel like a team who should be competing at the top.
I completely agree with that. And can I just say, now, I'm going to say it, Savia is that guy.
He is.
Like, he has looked like that guy. And in terms of leadership as well, which I have been very the word I say is proud, and the reason I say that is because I feel like when Ardie Savea captains All Blacks teams, he doesn't play the same. But since he's been at Moana, being a leader there, and I know Super Rugby's a different level, and I saw I think it was a TikTok where somebody made the point in the comments like, stop treating Super Rugby like it's a glorified All Blacks trial, which it kind of is, but treat it like these guys are just playing Super Rugby for their teams, which I do somewhat get. But Savea's playing like that dude, and honestly, he keeps this going into the All Blacks as he will be selected. Man, it's going to be awesome. But can I just say, it's not a carry job. The team around him has been awesome. They literally had a prop score a hat trick, bro.
I know. That doesn't happen normally.
No, it doesn't.
Like I know if your name is who was the prop who's top try scored Super Rugby in 2012?
Who was it, dude?
The Tongan guy. It was his last name Taumalolo.
No, that's Jason.
No, I'm thinking of the wrong.
No, it's. Are you talking about Ben Tommy Finn?
No. Sione something.
Oh, you know what? Let's just go with Sione because I feel
I'm pretty sure.
we're going to.
I feel really bad if his
the
name
last
isn't.
Name.
Wasn't that? Oh, I gotta.
While you research that, I'm going to talk about it anyway. Moana Pacifica's second halves have also been crazy.
They've been absolutely insane.
Crazy.
Like, they were trailing the Waratahs, and the Waratahs were definitely giving them some, like, early in the game, they were breaking through them a lot easier. It's like, oh, damn, it's going to be, like, you know, a confident Waratahs win. Suali'i was, you know, doing his thing. He was playing at fullback in this game.
That brings up an interesting conversation too, but I will leave that for another time.
Leave that for another time. He didn't top try scorer, but I'm pretty sure he was at the top.
Who's this?
Sona Taumalolo, not Sione Simon. You idiot.
Okay.
Sona Taumalolo, who scored 9 tries. He had the same amount of tries as Julian Savea and was only beaten by Bjorn Basson of the Bulls and Andre Taylor of the Hurricanes. So, for a prop, that's insane.
That's pretty good.
I remember he played at the World Cup the year previously for Tonga.
Yes.
And
yes, that's a name to pull out of the hat, man.
That's a name to pull out of the hat. Honestly.
But there you go. This was also back in a time where the Blues were not very good.
No, but this was the start of my, like, existential dread as a child. The 2012 Super Rugby season. And,
existential dread.
Yes.
Bro,
imagine being 11 years old. The Blues made the semi-finals, right? Had a decent team on paper as it is. The All Blacks win the World Cup, and then the Blues go ahead and sign Piti Wepu, who was a big part of that squad,
they did.
and Ma'anonu, who was a big part of that squad.
Yes.
They both joined the Blues, and they're the worst Kiwi team in Super Rugby.
Yeah.
It's not great. It wasn't great. It was painful. It
was very painful.
But, you know, we've come a little bit along since then. This season reminds... I
think this season for the Blues actually reminds me more of the Crusaders last season.
Yeah.
But off track, Moana Pacifica, fantastic win, fantastic second half. I'd like to see them carry that on with every other team but the Blues, who they do play next week at Eden Park.
That'll be a huge game. Yeah. We'll probably have to go to that because...
Absolutely. How can we not?
Together, we've only seen both teams play once this season.
This is true.
I did see the Blues play in Wellington earlier in the year, but yeah, we need to see them play, and to watch both of them play at the same time. I think it's going to be a very good game of rugby. I think both teams have a point to prove. The Blues are like, wanting to prove we can beat teams who aren't the Hurricanes, and Moana will be like, we can beat other Kiwi teams, and we can be the best team in Auckland, which is a huge thing in Super Rugby. You don't get city rivalries.
Well, let's just say this weekend will prove who the best team this season is in Auckland when Blues go Moana Pacifica. But speaking about the Blues, they get a huge battle of attrition win against the Hurricanes 19-18. I watched most of the first half. You watched the second half.
I did the job.
So, yeah, to me, that was definitely, like I said, it was a battle of attrition game.
It was a forwards plus Bowden Barrett. Yes. Honestly. You watch that game, you watch how Bowden played in that second half, and if you're picking your fly half for the All Blacks for this year, you're going with Bowden.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're going with Bowden. And if you look at that display, Bowden was kicking for touch like he had the ball on a string. Like, he was nailing it like it'd bounce a centimetre in play and then go out.
Yeah.
Like from like way deep in our own half, and that saved us in that game. We were able to peg the Canes back a lot, and the forwards were actually. I think I messaged you.
Yeah, you did.
One of the things was Hoskins Sotutu has won a breakdown.
Yeah.
I felt the need because you go on about the Blues forwards, and sometimes Hoskins in particular for not doing as well at the breakdown as the opponents.
I did
in
at the
game.
start of the season. Definitely did.
And so when that happened, I was like, well, I think I have to tell Dylan this because
Big facts. Hey, look, he's won one breakdown this season.
He's
Start him at number 8 for the All Blacks. There we go.
Oh.
But I'm very glad to see our forwards start to play a little bit more like they did last season. And funnily enough, I think the key for the Blues, because let's be real, if the Blues are going to get to the top 6, I think they have to win every game. Maybe they can lose one from now.
And it will be tough because there's 7 games to go.
Exactly. That's going to be tough. I don't think it's impossible. I think the hardest game will be the Crusaders in Christchurch.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. Well, there's going to be tough games all around because this season is close.
It's
these
close
teams
season.
are good. But the Blues, I think the key for the Blues is holding on to the ball, man.
Yeah.
Like when we, at least to me, when we play games where we kick way more than we need to, I feel like we just get on the back foot so easily. It happened against the Highlanders.
Yes.
When we played the Highlanders, we kicked it to Finn Hurley twice. What did he do? Score twice. Although I think he's out for the season now, so
Yeah.
I hope that he recovers soon, because I think he's a good young talent. But the Blues, if they hold on to the ball a little bit more, and I think also having Bowden Barrett at 10 forces him not to kick as much because he's closer to the line. I think he's way better playing that way, when it's more strategic kicking rather than, over kicking, which I think he does tend to do, especially now. And maybe that's why he didn't start at 10 for the 2019 World Cup. But, yeah, I like seeing Bowden play like that. He's looking like our fly half that we know he can be. Hopefully he carries that on, because the Blues are going to bloody well need him for the Blues to get anything this season.
I think our best. I think. Well, I forgot if he played against the Canes in Wellington. I forgot if he was injured or not. But I think a lot of our better performances this season have been when Bonin has been playing it.
Yes, it has.
And so I think that's probably, you could attribute that to why the Blues haven't been good this season. You could genuinely say it's because of Bowden. And a lot of people will be like, oh, Bowden's not, the core of the team, he's getting old a bit. Like, the Blues have so many top players. But I genuinely think that he is kind of a really important cog. And if you have him at 10, just the whole team is able to operate better. Even though this week, the backs certainly were a little bit more quiet than usual compared to Moana, where you had KT, Gunn and Bishop, and then Pellegrini, Havili were just everywhere in that game. I forgot to mention that last time. Like, Gunn and Bishop played really well with Pellegrini on the pitch as well. Havili has been one of the most underrated players as well this season.
This season, definitely.
William Havili,
yes.
not his brother, although he's been playing fine for the Crusaders.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with the Blues, Bowden has just been that guy.
Man.
When he's
going to need to
10.
continue to be that guy. And I think, and this is, I will say this just to end this discussion off before we do a somewhat fast recap at the table.
Yes.
With Bowden Barrett, my only thing is when he plays at 10 like this and gets to a Super Rugby final, it becomes a different story. So we somehow, and I'm saying somehow, even though I have Blues bias and I really want them to reach the final, of course, I'm going to say if we by some miracle reach the final, we need the Bowden Barrett, not a Bowden Barrett.
No,
if you get what I mean.
If we get to the final, it will be the Bowden Barrett, because I don't see another way of us getting there.
I agree with that. I completely
I love
agree with
Harry
that.
Plummer and I love Pedofeta, but Bowden's clearly been just performing at that extra level
absolutely.
this season. And it's been awesome to see, because people love to write him off,
people love to write off Blues players in general. It's because we're the big smoke, man. We're the big smoke in Auckland, we're clearly New Zealand's biggest city. So, it's just going to happen.
You don't need to flex that on this. Everyone knows that. But
I know that. I'm flexing. I don't care.
He's flexing.
My
city's bigger than yours.
Yeah, but it's part of, in terms of sports.
Yes.
Well, actually outside of sports. But in terms of sports, it feels like it's a lot of the time Auckland versus the rest of New Zealand
Oh, absolutely.
at a lot of moments. So
And like
yeah,
I completely
bring it because I'm not playing.
I completely understand though why the other parts of New Zealand are very like as long as Auckland loses, because like
Yeah.
I completely get it, like much larger population to draw players from, more industry, better economy, more money, better attraction for better players. Like obviously Auckland has these advantages, so I'm not surprised when you see even the people from like the other larger cities like Christchurch, Wellington, and Hamilton still going, we want to beat those Jaffers, la la la.
And this is the only time I ever say this.
Yeah.
When it comes to this, shout out to Christchurch, because they have made probably New Zealand's best teams in a lot of different sports since not even close. That's the only time I'm doing that, so we're going to move quickly onto the table. The Chiefs retake first, and like we said last week,
They were
and in
first
our
last
TikTok.
week, though.
No, the Reds were first last week.
No, the Reds were second.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
No,
I swear the Reds were first.
Maybe they were. But
We're gonna have to double check this.
Do we have VAR on the podcast yet?
VAR that. VAR that. Edit. No. But yeah, anyway, the Chiefs are first.
You wouldn't have seen it, but there was a video. I forgot what. I think it was the Bulgarian league, and they have VAR there apparently. And they show, at the start of the games, so they show like the virtual ref room, and they're all in their chairs with the screens on top.
Yeah.
So they had like the three refs in there. One of them's looking at the screen. Other one's looking at the screen. One closest to the screen, he's on his phone. Bet365.
My
VAR ref. Only in Bulgaria.
Bulgaria different.
Yeah, it is. Pretty sure it was Bulgaria.
But yeah, no, Chiefs, man, speaking of different, looking different at the moment, they're up the top. Somehow the Blues get a win. We think they're going to leapfrog. Nope, they're still second to last.
Yep. But 4 points clear of bottom place Drua, which again, you kind of
surprising.
It's surprising because I felt like at the start of the season the Drua were like really coming into their own, and then they're bottom of the table. They've only won a single game. They've got a minus 80 point difference. Like, okay,
and
sure.
And to end off the table and the men's Super Rugby discussion, still 4 Australian teams in the top 6. So I might have to eat my words with these Australian teams. But God,
not far behind those teams, you do have the Hurricanes, you do have Moana Pacifica, you do have the Highlanders. And I'm just saying, the Blues are only 6 points away from 6th place Waratahs. And there's 7 games to go. You can get as much as 5 points for a win every week.
True.
If you're winning every game with that bonus point, those margins may just get way more out of hand if the Kiwi teams or even the Aussie teams have big wins. Because I do feel bad last week when we were talking about potential Super Rugby winners. We kind of just didn't assume that the Aussie teams were going to do it. I don't think we mentioned it, but I do think, the Reds will probably be able to hang with it. I'm surprised the Force are 4th, which is...
Same. They play some good... who's their flanker?
Tizano.
Tizano. I keep seeing him at the top of, a Super Rugby Player of the Year stuff and things like that.
And their fly half, I forgot who it is. He's been really good as well.
It's not Nick White, is it?
No.
I hope not.
Number 10.
I really don't like that guy.
I think I picked him in fantasy when I was actually caring about it one week. But he's been very good as well. Man. The Brumbies only in 5th. But the Brumbies have had
I think the Brumbies are going to... I don't think they ended in 5th. I actually think they'll end up being higher. But yeah, hey man, Super Rugby for men's is close, man. It's really close.
I'm looking at this table right now, and I could sense... in if there's a potential scenario where 3 of the Kiwi teams not currently in the top 6, and I'm counting Moana as a Kiwi team here, sneak in, but that would mean the forced Brumbies Waratahs to drop off.
Only time will tell, man. Only time will tell.
A definite top 3 right now with the Chiefs, the Crusaders, and the Reds, only separated by 2 points, and then 3 points clear of 4th. So I think that's your clear top 3 right now. Definitely can change by the time the regular season's over, but I think that's your clear. These are your 3 best teams in Super Rugby right now, and then everyone else is fighting for their lives for 4th.
5th and 6th. That's a very good point. Well, let's move on to something that I don't think is as close, and that's Super Rugby Opiki, the women's Super Rugby. So in terms of results this week, the Chiefs Manoa beat Matatu 28-22.
Big win for them.
And then the Blues women beat the Hurricanes Paua, who have had a horrible season, 49-26. The Paua go the whole season winless, and the final, which is after the Blues Moana Pacifica game, game, which I love, by the way.
Yeah.
That order. The Blues women host Matatu at Eden Park on Saturday night for the final. Now, I'm going to ask you a question because this is the main thing I want to talk about with this. I didn't even know that the Australian women's, they have teams.
Yeah.
I actually found out at work when I spoke to somebody that played for an Australian team over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was
Super
like,
dub.
yeah, I was like, how is this not? How are these teams not joined up, bro? Like, honestly,
It's probably a combination of NZ Rugby taking their sweet time to actually get professional women's Super Rugby teams off the ground, which honestly should have been done 10 years ago, even earlier.
Agreed.
And the fact, I think it started just after COVID, which didn't help. And we were probably better off playing in our own comp, and the Aussie teams were pretty fine in their own comp.
Yeah.
But I think it is really just a matter of time before, maybe not even just combining them, but doing what we did with what the men's did in 2021. You have each team play all the other teams in the other country after their respective seasons, and then the winner of that meets in the final. And
I could see that.
I think if there's not the funding or whatever it takes to make a combined comp available, that's the next best step. Even if it's not a full campaign, like just have the teams play at least 1 or 2, maybe even 3 games against each other. Have that proper Tasman, and there's a Fijian Drua team in that Super W as well. There was a Rebels team. They don't compete in it anymore, so it is 4 teams and 5 teams, which is a little bit.
That I think 4 teams in our women's comp is the only way I can describe it is a little bit useless.
I wouldn't say useless. It's just not.
I don't think it's enough.
It's not enough. I think I'd love to think that there's enough resources for a 15 here. Like I can see why they just have 1 team for the South Island in Matatu, but you think could there be a women's Moana Pacifica team?
That would be sick.
There's a women's Fijian Drua team, and I'm pretty sure you'd find a lot of Polynesian Super Rugby All Picky level players who either aren't starting regularly for one of the 4 existing teams or don't have a contract and are stuck playing Farah Palmer Cup. I think if they can't get a second South Island team, which I don't know if that's even on the thoughts of NZ Rugby.
Yeah.
I think that's a great alternative if they do want to bring a 5th team in. And I think the thing with All Picky, in my opinion, which needs to be sorted out one way or another, and introducing the Aussie teams, I think could solve this, is the amount of games they play, because the maximum amount of games an All Picky team can play per season is 7. Compare that to the men's teams. I think they can play up to 17 games.
Exactly.
In a Super Rugby season. I don't think it's enough. Like, yeah, they play every team home and away currently. That's great and all, but that's 6 games. And then the top 2 go to the final. No.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the most common critique of All Picky. It hasn't been the level of rugby. No, the level of rugby has been great.
Fantastic.
And it's, the perfect pathway for, promising, Wahine rugby players to make the Black Ferns.
Look at you throwing the Māori in there.
You didn't have to make it a big deal.
I didn't make it a big deal. I love it, man. It's awesome.
But, they only played 7 games, and yes, there is still the Farah Palmer Cup. And honestly, right now on the spot, I couldn't tell you if Farah Palmer intersects the international women's games. I don't know if they can clash. But yeah, I think there just needs to be more games. If they don't expand, do they just play against every other team one more time? Sure. I know it's a bit overkill, but
I think that's overkill. It doesn't solve the problem. I think you have to do what's right and join New Zealand and Australia together. It's just what's right to do, and for the growth, I think, of the women's game, which has grown a lot. You look at that World Cup final that we had here.
3 years ago?
Yeah, 3 years ago at Eden Park, us versus England. That is still to this day probably the best game of rugby, men's or women's, blue or green, I don't care, that I have ever seen.
You know what I think about it? That definitely ranks up there. For recency bias, I've still got our quarterfinal win over Ireland. I think that was just like
that was cool.
That was more of like a holy shit game. I can't believe that just happened. That World Cup final was just absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was
and
so
I
good,
forever
dude.
regret not getting tickets to it.
I somewhat do too. But
Yeah.
I also know at the time didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Which is becoming a theme on this podcast.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just before, if you're watching on YouTube, probably saw the old reliable. Sorry, technical difficulties. Camera not working. We deduced why. Well, I figured out why the camera. It can only record up to 4 gigabytes of footage before it has to stop. And does it just decide to start a new recording file? Of course it doesn't. So
Yeah.
and then obviously sometimes when we yarn for too much, it runs out of battery. But hey,
Yeah.
you're gonna get that with an 8-year-old camera, 7-year-old
Yeah.
camera.
But hey, like we've said before, we're going to
Aupiki.
keep building, and at some point we're going to get a new camera. But Super Rugby Aupiki, get those teams together.
Even if it's
Get them
like,
together.
even if it's like a second competition,
Facts.
I think they need it, and I think the spectators want it as well. More games to go to, potentially more double headers, and also I think it is absolutely the correct decision and the most logical decision to have the Aupiki final after the Blues game on Saturday, because it's a final.
Absolutely.
You don't discredit
I'm so
a
glad
final.
that's done.
And the final deserves to be in that prime time Saturday night slot,
Yeah, man.
regardless of gender. And the women's Aupiki teams in the final, the Blues and the Matatu,
Yeah.
have some amazing players, like some of the trailblazers of the women's game. Like it would be massive disrespect to not have them, as the main event.
True that, man. And actually, just to end off the discussion, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm pretty sure you would have heard about it. Did the New Zealand Rugby Union just win a huge lawsuit against one of their biggest? This may be a fake thing I saw. I'm pretty sure it's not, because it does line up with stuff. But pretty much there was a massive
Clickbait's
sponsor.
real, mate.
No,
with Ineos.
yes, with Ineos. Yeah,
I think there was some form of agreement.
So now we get that money back
Yes.
from that lawsuit, which you just saw Damien McKenzie sign a massive contract. Does that go towards, which I hope it does, towards bringing those leagues together? Who knows, but let's move on to another league, NRL. We'll pretty much quickly run through these. The Raiders 24, the Sharks 20. Little slide upset there. The Panthers lose again. Not the best start for them.
Four straight.
Yeah, 4 straight.
They've 1 and 4
Tough.
for the season. They've had some seasons recently when they've just lost 4 games all season. 5
Yeah,
games and they've
exactly.
lost 4 now.
Nathan Cleary, man. Nathan
But
Cleary.
he was playing in that game too.
That's crazy.
It just didn't click for them.
Well, the Cowboys do get the win 22-18. Rabbitohs get the win over the Roosters in the Battle of the R's 20-14.
Sydney Derby's probably the more well-known term.
Battle of the R's. I'm calling it
Battle
that
of
from
the
now.
R's.
The Eels get a close win over the Dragons 23-22. The Dolphins finally get a win. Get a good win against the Titans 36-10. The Broncos come and smack the West Tigers. I believe, was it 46-24? No, it was 46-24. Then the Storm, who the Warriors play next week, and I am scared.
You always have to be scared.
Smack the Sea Eagles 48-24. And then the Bulldogs beat the Knights 20-0. But yeah, like we said, huge matchup for the Warriors next week against the Storm. It'll say a lot about their early season form.
Yes.
I'm scared.
If we manage to beat the Storm for the first time since 2016 in Melbourne, I think it is an actual
2016.
Yeah, we haven't beaten them. We lost them in 2016.
Yep,
Haven't
I'm
won
scared.
Since. But my good friend Chris pointed this out to me, that we haven't won against the Storm since 2016. Who joined us in 2016? One and only Just Tavanga. So when he was on the
point.
Warriors, he never bet the Storm. He moved to the Sea Eagles to start this season. Who did the Sea Eagles just get thumped by?
The Storm.
The Storm.
Is it the Tavanga course?
So
I see the Tavanga course. The Tavanga curse.
So my friend has suggested that maybe the curse on the Warriors may have been lifted and may have not even been their problem to begin with. It could have been, and no disrespect to Jazz because he was an amazing player for the Warriors.
Great player.
It could have been the Jazz Tavanga curse. We'll see. If the Warriors beat the Storm, we might have to rename it.
Yeah, Chris, I love you. It's probably a load of bullshit. But in saying that, that's a huge matchup for the Warriors. But
It's massive. And those results we went over, like some upsets in there,
Yeah.
some big ties. Next week, all the matches are fairly unbalanced. It's all teams who have started off really well taking on teams who haven't started off really well, apart from a few where they're both kind of middling around. So the Warriors Storm is probably the game of the round next week on paper. And I hope we don't, underperform, because they have a history of doing that when they need to perform. But I'm kind of confident, but the Storm are scary. I saw their clips of some of the games they played, and it did make me feel a bit scared. But former NZ Sevens player Moses Leo made his debut against the Dragons for the Storm. So another very talented Kiwi Sevens winger picked up by the Storm. The first one being Will Warbrick, who's now a Kiwi.
True.
Who was on the Sevens team for a while. The Storm picked him up and turned him into a very, very, very good NRL winger. Although he would have been a very good winger wherever he went.
That's a good point. Well, let's move on to, you always call it my baby, but
his baby, your
we'll
forte.
continue to call it that. The NZ NBL, the New Zealand National Basketball League. We'll run through the results. Canterbury Rams, they go to the top of the table looking like they still might get that three-peat. They beat the Taranaki Airs 87-71. The Saints beat the Bulls in a close one, 78-72. The Panthers just continue to look disorganized. I feel so sorry for them. Hopefully they sort it out. They lose to the Nuggets 98-77. The Auckland Tuatara beat the Southland Sharks by 10. 102-92. The Taranaki Airs then revenged their loss at the start of the week to win 108-93 to the Nelson Giants, who are not playing very good at the moment. The Tauranga Whai, although they stay within that top three, did lose to the very young and very good Hawke's Bay Hawks, 86-74. The Tuatara get a close win over the Nuggets, 97-94. Another close game, the Saints get the closest win against the Jets, 93-92. And then I haven't put it there, but the Southland Sharks did beat the Indian Panthers. But I want to talk about the Auckland Tuatara because they are usually a top team. And to start the season, pretty much didn't win a game in their first 3 to 4 games. Now, a lot of that, as I'm finding out, is because Rob Lowe wasn't playing for them. He's now returned. And now they have Rob Lowe, their 2 imports. And also there's been almost an influx of Australian players coming to play in the NZ NBL. Pretty much every team has got their players now. But for the Auckland Tuatara, it's Will Hickey, who, if you know Australian national basketball, the Illawarra Hawks played Melbourne United in the final. The Hawks won, but they gave the MVP to Matthew Dellavedova, who was playing for United.
I did see that.
And Matthew Dellavedova de facto gave it to Will Hickey, who is now playing for the Auckland Tuatara.
I did see that clip.
Yeah, but the Auckland Tuatara in both those games, Will Hickey's first 2 games in the NZNBL, dude goes off for pretty much 30-point triple-doubles for both those games. So
ridiculous.
For anybody that watches the NZNBL, I'm sorry, the Auckland Tuatara are at full capacity. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, if they stay injury-free and their imports and their star Aussie guys and their star Kiwi guys just, play to the best of their abilities and
it's going to be tough.
Play well together. I think it might be over. Yeah. Even if the Rams can do what they've done in the past. Then, I remember when you took me to that first Rams win, we were supporting Cruz.
Yes, we were.
And, they just bloody... that's those Christchurch teams.
It's just Christchurch,
they've got
bro.
that mentality when it comes to finals, even if they're less favoured, they find it within. And I think that just, it's a big... part of representing Christchurch or sometimes the Canterbury area
is
that being able to pull out a result by digging deep and just committing to the cause. And you have to commend that, even as biased Auckland fans, as you like to go on about.
But I'm not saying shout out to them again.
No. They've reached their quota from your point of view.
The Auckland Tuatara, man, they have looked good now that they've got all their players. So I think you'll see a lot of table changes for the NZNBL, but the Canterbury Rams are at the top of the moment. My team, Cruz's team, the Tauranga Whai, they are, I believe, 3rd at the moment, but it's going to be I was about to say it's going to be Auckland, but it's going to be awesome to see how Auckland are going to play. So, but I reckon we move on to that A-League, brother. Run through those, mate.
Right before we get to the A-League, I know you were briefly talking about the Aussie NBL and talking about the Illawarra Hawks and Melbourne United.
Yeah.
Get rid of the United. Bring back the Tigers. Such a stupid name. I know this was like 10 years ago. It was completely unrelated. But why are they Melbourne United? You're not a football team. There's 3 of them already in Melbourne. And that's only the A-League teams. Go back to the Tigers. Better colours, better logo, better name, better identity, better everything. I hate United. Rebrand to the Tigers. While you're at it, bring back the Townsville Crocs. One of the best names of all time. One of the best logos of all time. And
I'm loving this.
Bring back CJ Bruton. I miss him. I want him back. I miss him. He's part of my first entrance to basketball.
Oh, this is the best.
I've just been missing it. And there's other teams I've probably forgotten about who played Gold Coast Blaze, Singapore Slingers, before my time, Canberra Cannons, Western Sydney Razorbacks. All better names, better logos. I don't like Melbourne United. You're a basketball team. What's so united about Melbourne? You have the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. How are you united when you have a team in your Southeast? Like, please, put some sense into your names. I hate it.
Two things. I hope you know that's getting clipped.
Yeah, I know.
Second of all, oh, that's funny, man. Second of all, you're not wrong.
No,
but
I'm never wrong.
I was going to say something else. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, hey, bring back the Melbourne Tigers. Bring back the Gold Coast Blaze. That was a great team. They had blue and yellow as well.
Yeah.
Which was a nice light blue, yellow jersey. Even though they kept being the Breakers back in the days.
And they had Kirk Penny, didn't they?
They did for a little bit, yeah. They did for a little bit. But get into this A-League, man. Get into this A-League, mate.
Not a great week for Auckland. 1-1 draw with the Wanderers at home.
We've just become a team that draws anyway, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as some of the other draws we've had this season. Honestly, I barely remember the game. I know we scored first and then they scored. They definitely had good moments in the game. We had good moments in the game.
Yeah.
I think we just need to, focus on getting through these next 4 results and making sure we don't drop more points.
Once again, though, it's my concern is that any time the Auckland, I was about to say the Auckland Tuatara, no, AFC, they end up dropping a goal. It's like the whole team's mentality changes.
Yeah, and I think that is a thing which definitely needs to be looked at ahead of the finals because Auckland have already confirmed their berth in the finals, and we need to make sure we don't switch off if we concede.
Yeah,
because that throws away, the chance of bringing home a premiership in the first season of asking. And I think that I'm expecting to win because we've played so well this season. We've clearly been the best team in the comp.
But we can't fall off now.
The wheels can't come off now. We play Sydney next week. That'll be a tough game. If we can beat Sydney, I'm more confident because they are a good team in my opinion. They've got Douglas Costa for crying out loud. Like I know he's probably 37 and.
But
on one league, but
in the A-League, he's still that guy.
Yeah, and because the A-League has had a history of signing foreign imports and thinking they're going to change the league, and they have not changed the league. Like, I can Daniel Sturridge didn't really do anything at Perth. I know Romario played for Adelaide and was horrific from what I know. A lot of guys have come to the A-League, big name guys, and haven't done well. Douglas Costa has been the first one, I think, in quite a while who's actually put in the shifts. Like, he's really keen to be a part of that team. He's actually putting in an effort. He's been scoring late goals for them in the whatever Asian competition they're playing in.
Yeah.
I forgot it's they're not playing Champions League, they're playing the one below it. But I think they're still active in it, and Douglas has been a huge part of that. I think Sydney hit the nail right on, bringing Douglas in as a big import because he certainly won't be cheap. No. He's played in Brazil, he's played for LA Galaxy, he's played for Bayern, Juventus, all these teams around the world. And, the more of I don't think we need to oversaturate the A-League with these players. But the more...
He looks good.
The more good imports they bring in, the better. Speaking of imports, I'm going to pivot to the Wellington Phoenix. They got a huge
Please
win.
do.
A huge win away at Newcastle, 2-1. Barbaroussa's Nagasawa on the score sheet. Chiefy actually played Nagasawa as a 10 for the first time since earlier this season, and he played so much better than he has been all year round because I think they finally moved him from a defensive mid role. And he's actually been playing well because a lot of people have been saying he's not been great. He's, been, not a good import.
I think that's a general thing for the Wellington Phoenix team anyway.
Exactly. And their goalkeeper, their import goalkeeper who has struggled at points of the season. He really put in a shift today. Their young keeper, Albie Kelly-Hill, got injured a couple weeks ago, out for the season.
Yeah.
So he's guaranteed to be starting till the end. He's put in the shift to show why they signed him in the first place and then gave him an extension a couple games into the season. But heading into this game, the Knicks just had like a week from hell leading up to this. First of all, Marco Rojas mutily terminated his contract. He could be retiring, which he is 33. He's struggled with injuries throughout his career. He's had for a very highly rated New Zealand prospect, where, they may have hyped the standards up way too much. I think he did a very credible job at having a decent career.
I think he did as well.
He's one of the best A-League players of all time. His stints at the Victory will show you. And then I don't remember if this was after or before, but the import they signed in February to replace David Bull, Chico Giraldes, out for the rest of the season with a knee injury. And he has been very, very good for him. Like, he was a bright spot and a pretty underwhelming part of the season for the Phoenix. And he's only on loan from a team in Malaysia, so they'll be very much hoping that he wants to come back. I think he's fallen in love with the being in New Zealand because he keeps on watching Lord of the Rings and putting it on Instagram. I didn't read the whole thing, but he went down to Invercargill for some reason. Like, he's been around. So I'm kind of hoping for the Knicks' sake that they get to keep him because he's been a very good player for them, and it would save, another import who did well at an A-League team and a less bigger market going to a Sydney or a Melbourne team straight away. Like, the Knicks just lost Criev to Western Sydney, who was great against Auckland. And, I hope he stays, but a massive win for the Knicks.
Man.
Their playoff hopes are still probably non-existent. It's statistically possible, but I don't think it's happening. I think they'd have to win. They have to win every single game, and they need Sydney to just not win a game at all. And other teams to not win a game at all.
They need a lot to work out. But I do like seeing them just have a strong finish to the season, man.
Yeah, if they can
Sometimes
get
it's just about character.
out of that top 4 and finish within the top 10, I think that's a really good finish to the season.
Bottom 4.
Yeah, bottom 4. I don't think Perth and Brisbane are moving out of those bottom 2 spots anytime soon, so they won't get lower than bottom 3, but yeah, if the Knicks can get a couple more wins, I don't think the playoffs is going to happen, but I think they can, finish off the season with a bit of a bang. And I am looking forward to that as just a fan of New Zealand football in general.
Absolutely.
And that, I think, actually wraps it up pretty early on for our standards for domestic sports.
It does. It's time to roll into the international sports.
And we don't even have that much international sports to talk about either. It's
pretty much just moments, to be honest.
It's pretty much moments. I'll kick it off with the F1. Japanese Grand Prix was yesterday. Boring race, honestly. Come back from the Chinese Grand Prix, which was all over the place, and the Aussie Grand Prix, which was all over the place. Japan was very, very standard. Not a lot happened. Liam got to Q2, which was great to see. He was P14 in the end because Sainz got a penalty. Sonoda was P13 for context. If you didn't know, Lawson's now back at Racing Bulls, or VCarb. Yuki's now in the Red Bull. The race, honestly, all I can say about Liam is that on the first lap, he briefly lost control of the car. Yuki overtook him very quickly. Did not really do anything wrong the rest of the race. He got marred by technical issues and a poor strategy from Racing Bulls, like putting him on softs after his first pit after wearing out the mediums for way too long. Don't understand what the logic was there, but he ends up finishing in the 17th. Not ideal, but for context, Yuki, I think, only overtook one other driver. I think the whole race, he didn't finish in points. He didn't get a lot out of that car. Max managed to hold off both McLarens and win. He somehow qualified first. No one expected that. So it's the first win of the season for Max. Liam will be hoping to have a better run out in Bahrain. His teammate Isaac Hajar finished in 8th.
Yeah, his first points he's ever got in an F1 car.
Which is awesome to see considering he had that crash on a formation lap in Aussie.
Yeah.
He had some issues in qualifying and in practice with the seat not being comfortable.
Was he the one that had the seatbelt on his nuts, mate?
Yeah, that's what my dad said. And they never said it on the coverage, but Dad was repeating what you just said there.
Fair play.
So there is F1
Fair play.
this weekend, but it's the first race of the season where you have to have no concern for your sleep schedule to watch it. Qualifying is 4 a.m. on Sunday morning, and the race is 3 a.m. on Monday morning, as it's the first Middle Eastern Grand Prix of the season.
Let's go.
In Bahrain.
Just hoping for Liam Lawson to do better, to be honest.
If he gets into Q2 again, I think it's promising. Q3 would be awesome, and if he can improve on his starting position, I think it's a good first race, and I probably won't be waking up for it, but I hope to wake up at a normal time, check the results, and be pleasantly surprised with the results.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, look, and because if you're watching YouTube, you probably noticed this. I have been just in and out of yawning the entire time.
Bro,
that is not your fault. That's not your fault.
It's not even 6:36, but
yeah, I know. No, the reason I
man.
did that is because I had to wake up super early today because I was covering something at work.
Yeah.
I'm talking. I had to get into work at 5 a.m.
Ugh.
But I just want to say, if I woke up to watch these, it would be the exact same way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
One season, my dad and we got up, I think, for like almost every single F1 race for a season. I think this is when I was working at a undisclosed television network in New Zealand. And I was on shift work. So some shift, I was sometimes doing night shift, or sometimes I was starting at 6 a.m. in the morning, or 6:30 in the morning. And I was working from home at the time because COVID.
Fun time.
So it was easier. It was easy because I wasn't traveling for work. I was able to kind of just get up easily, but I couldn't do that now when I'm like getting up at 6:30 and trying to get out of the house by 7 o'clock to go to work. Like, I'm not gonna, wake up at 3 o'clock.
Here's the thing, we are still young,
Yes.
but at the same time, we're too old for that shit.
Oh yeah, we're way too old for that stuff.
But with that being said, hopefully Liam Lawson can improve, because look, I get it with all the just to end it off with all the strategy and tires and all that, and that does matter. I'm not saying that. But eventually you have to stop those excuses and just, do the best racing you can.
Absolutely.
But yeah, let's move into the next one, my man. We've got the NCAA March Madness. With both finals, let's call it, for the men's, the participants are decided. The women's final was actually this morning, so we'll talk about that last. The men's final, let's go with my Houston prediction. I told this guy, don't go for the names. He went for Duke. What happened? They stuffed it up in the last 3 minutes.
Hey, for Duke, right, they still got to the Final Four, which is the best I think they've done in quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
As the number one team.
I'm trying to think. They did win it with Grayson Allen and maybe you remember this name. It was Grayson Allen and Jaleel Okafor.
Oh, Jaleel.
Jaleel Okafor, who actually,
he?
I think he recently signed a 10-day contract with the Pacers.
Yeah, because he was a 2015 draft.
He
right?
was picked third.
It was between him and Kat, I remember.
Yeah, he was picked third.
the big pick. And he, didn't necessarily play the way they thought he was going to play in the NBA. He was out of the league. He was overseas.
Yeah.
Went back to the G League, climbed through, and he's now back in the NBA.
Yeah,
awesome story.
Fair play.
Not related to this March Madness, as you said, Houston are in the final.
Let's
and
go.
They take on, I think I talked about them just in general last week, the Florida Gators.
They look good.
I think I talked about how I just appreciate their logo and their colors, because I think it looks awesome.
It does look awesome.
I'm not going to go on another rant. But yeah, Houston.
Put the Melbourne Tigers in March.
Yeah, Melbourne Tigers March Madness. Do it.
Yeah. But no, they. I'll be honest, both those teams. I mean, Houston for the last few years have been in and around that Final Four. They're looking to get Akeem Olajuwon that. What do you call it? That revenge for losing to I believe it was Jimmy V's North Carolina State. Now, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's it. And
Hakeem the Dream,
then Florida, they double won it back in the day. Joakim Noah, Al Horford on the team, that sort of thing. So they're looking for another one, and that Florida team looks good. That is going to be close.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the women's one, Florida, Houston, who you got?
Just to spite you, go Gators.
Stuff you. Come on, Houston. I forgot your
I'll be
team's
laughing
name.
to the bank tomorrow. I'm just saying.
No, haha. All right. And then the women's tourney
Also,
final.
forgot to mention, This is not a plug. We're not sponsored. But if you do want to watch the men's March Madness at some time on Tuesday morning, by the time this podcast is live, it's probably happened or happening right now.
Yeah.
It's on Disney Plus. If you want to watch ESPN,
Facts.
it's on Disney Plus now. And it's not just the 2 channels you get on Sky.
Yeah.
They've got any event they have the rights for live. So sometimes there's like 10 things on at once. I think it's mostly inflated because of March Madness. But all the NCAA stuff is on there. I think I've got every
You were about to say NCAA.
Yeah, don't take me
Put
back.
our NCAA exams on the ESPN, bro.
No, I don't want to be reminded.
But yes, they are on there. They're on Disney Plus.
I think I've got every NHL game.
Disney Plus. We have a whopping 17 followers on TikTok. Sponsor us, please.
Please.
But speaking of ESPN and Disney Plus, the women's final was
this morning
on there. That was this morning, and UConn, the 2 seed.
Who was right? Who was right? I was right. He got that. He got his men's prediction right. He just guessed Houston. I guessed the final. I guessed both teams, UConn and South Carolina. I mean, anyone could have done it. I think a lot of people probably did it, but I did it.
Let's just call this the Simon Kuba Gets Emotional podcast.
Not emotional.
Yeah, but they're gonna start calling us cry merchants. No, I'm just
crying. I am not crying. I'm just passionate about what I'm passionate for.
That's the same as crying.
And I was dead set that
this is our best one, man. This is
the best one so far. I hope you guys are stuck around. My guy, Paige Buckets. First NCAA tournament win. Finally. You would have assumed she had one.
It was UConn's first one since 2016.
I didn't realize it'd been that long.
I mean, they've won 12 tournaments. So, I mean, UConn has been insane. They went on this huge 100-and-something game winning streak before losing to somebody.
I think I saw a stat that I think men's and women's NCAA tournament wins, they've won 32% of them.
That's actually
both
mad.
Men and women's, which the women's tournament I think has only been around for 45 years, but still,
insane that's mad.
Because the men's team won back to back before this year.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Yeah. Was it back to back or did they just win last year?
I think they went back to back.
UConn basketball is on top. They're tough, man.
A huge win. It was 82-59 over South Carolina, who have been one of the best teams in women's basketball
for a very long time. Dawn Staley done a great job there coaching.
Yeah. I know there's other players on that UConn team we should be talking about, but I didn't bloody write their names down because Paige didn't even win their equivalent MVP.
UConn pretty much had a big 3 though.
They've always got multiple top players on the team at once.
Yeah.
And so it's always very hard to go against them when they've got a good team and they've got a generational player like Paige there who
great point.
Will be getting drafted number 1 by Dallas next week in the WNBA draft.
It's that quick, for them.
And then the season starts like a week later because I remember when Caitlin Clark got drafted last year and then all of a sudden
boom there.
The Fever were playing their first game of the season. You're like, I'm sorry, didn't she just play in the tournament with Iowa? Like, what's going on?
I will say, I do hope at some point the women's, the WNBA just continues to build because I think that would change if they were able to earn more money.
Yeah.
But that's a controversial thing we're not going to get into because we would get cancelled on the spot.
Although I will say, because this is just a statement, that I think you see more women's players in NCAA. They're taking all of those years of eligibility as they can. They're playing every single year they can in college. They're not declaring early.
I love that.
And because I think a big part of it is because they're going to get a much bigger NIL packet. NIL money is the money that college players can earn in America.
Name, image, and likeness deal.
If you're American, if you're a foreign player, you can't. Which is a bit stupid. But I think they earn more NIL money in that last year of college than they do for a few years in the professional sense in the WNBA, which I believe that within the next 5 years that won't be an issue.
I agree.
You have players like Caitlin Clark and Paige and, Cameron Brink and Sabrina and Angel Reese and all the other players I'm forgetting, like the ones who've been there forever, like Brianna Stewart and Casey Plum and Brittany Griner and
Kelsey Plum, yeah.
yeah.
Kelsey Plum is still like for work. Sometimes I do promos work, and sometimes we're on the courts at basketball games, like throwing t-shirts into the stands and stuff like that.
I know what you're
that
talking
one
about.
Kelsey Plum clip when she was a rookie in 2017 at the Spurs game, throwing a towel, it's either towel or a shirt, up to her parents, I'm pretty sure it was, just launched this thing. I've been trying to recreate that moment myself when I do promos ever since. Have I done it? No.
Can't even get to the second deck at Spark Arena, mate.
Hey. I can get to the second. Because I can throw it up to the camera so on the bottom of the second deck. But yeah, congratulations to UConn, and that men's one's going to be interesting. But I was about to say speaking of men's, that sounds a little bit weird. But NHL, huge moment. Wayne Gretzky, I'm sure if you're an ice hockey fan or know sports, is the GOAT of NHL. His goal scoring record, which was thought of as untouchable, has now been broken, and deservedly so by Alex Ovechkin, who got his 895th goal today.
I think he did it in like the same amount of games as Gretzky as well.
Yeah, he did.
But I think Gretzky has like an unbelievable more amount of assists for him in the same amount of games.
So they played different. I'm pretty sure
they count points.
Ovechkin was more of
just a goal scorer,
more of a forward.
Yeah.
Where Gretzky was a centre and was everywhere.
Also, Wayne Gretzky is the subject of one of my favorite like niche vines of all time. These guys playing like street ice hockey or just doing something, or like on an ice rink, just yelling his name but saying it completely wrong.
Yeah.
It's like Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky, and it's like it's just something about that video.
That reminds me a little bit of Merry Crimmer.
Oh, Merry Crimmer.
Merry Chrysler.
Merry Christmas.
What a throwback, man. Good old
Bring
Vine.
back Vine.
Bring back Vine.
Bring
but
it
yeah,
back.
congratulations to Alex Ovechkin for doing that. That is a huge thing. And I'll let you quickly go through the Euro football before getting into the segment.
Not too much to go over, honestly. Chris Wood's still injured. He got injured in that game against New Caledonia, which saw us qualify for the World Cup. Despite that, Nottingham Forest still beat Man United last week, midweek, but they did lose to Aston Villa. I think their first loss in a while. Didn't really matter, though, because everyone kind of lost the game in the last two match days. It did
seem like that.
So Liverpool lost this morning to Fulham 3-2, but they're still well and truly on top of the league.
Yeah.
Southampton are officially relegated with 7 games to go, one of the earliest relegations in the history of the Premier League.
I think it is the earliest relegation.
Yes. But the table still remains the same. Your top 4 is Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, and Chelsea. But Man City, Aston Villa, and Newcastle are not too far behind. Champions League is back on Wednesday. You got Bayern versus Inter and Arsenal versus Real Madrid. And then you've also got Barca versus Dortmund.
Oh, you had to put this in here, didn't you?
Versus Aston Villa. But this isn't to spite you, Dylan.
It absolutely is.
It's not to spite you because it's genuinely an amazing accomplishment.
It is an amazing accomplishment, but it's bullcrap.
Third division German side Arminia Bielefeld bet by Leverkusen, aka Dylan's favorite German club, in the semi-finals of the German Cup to make the final as a third division team, which is insane.
I have to. That's actually awesome. I just wish it didn't happen against my team. But in saying that, a third division, I hope they win it. Yep. I'm guessing they're going to play Munich.
No, they're playing Stuttgart.
Oh, come on.
So Stuttgart, chasing their first silverware in 18 years.
How do you say? Is Armenia? Is that Armenia?
Armenia Bielefeld? Bielefeld? I'm not sure.
I imagine it's Bielefeld or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But they were actually,
sorry about our pronunciation.
They were actually in the Bundesliga in 2022, but recently had 2 straight relegations. Stuttgart also have been relegated twice within the last 10 years, but got promoted first time.
I feel like German football,
it's very topsy-turvy.
Yeah, it's very topsy-turvy.
Nowadays.
Outside of Bayern, Dortmund, Leverkusen.
Schalke have gone up and down. And
but Hamburg
that's
for a reason,
went down and haven't gone back up. Yeah, Schalke was mostly financial reasons.
Yeah.
And then we'll just go to La Liga because Serie A League is not really on my radar. Barcelona are 4 points clear despite a draw with Betis this match day.
So they've taken over that a little bit.
Yeah, 4 points clear Real Madrid with 8 games to go. Atletico Madrid are 3 points behind Real, and I think your boys Bilbao are 6 points behind them still.
So I'm gonna double check because I want to double check my boys Bilbao.
Oh, he's got Tribe open.
Fourth. No, I don't have Tribe. I have one football.
He's got one football open now.
But I'm gonna check this, and you're gonna explain that we're finally doing a segment.
We're finally doing a segment. It's about time. I'm just gonna double check something here.
This is what we have to do,
You
guys.
guys, if you're watching the video, you see my beautiful face. We've reached the hour mark, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on.
And we're only getting onto the segment. This is great. I got to get my player. I'm actually going to do this. You're going to see a little bit of blurriness, and then you're not going to see a little bit of blurriness. Just because I want to be able to post this on our socials. I don't want the camera dying.
Also confirmed, my guys Bilbao still fourth, baby. Come
Still fourth.
on.
Champions League. We're doing Guess the Player again. We did this a few weeks ago. So basically, me and Dylan are going to come up with a sports player. We have decided we are only going to do rugby players again, union players, and they have to be from a rugby championship nation. New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Argentina, played in at least the 2010s. I've got mine. I hope I haven't gone too niche again, but I feel like this guy was
this is why I'm
of a big name.
This is why I'm scared, right? Because
last time, for context, I went with Frank Halai,
which is a name I know, but is still niche.
Yes.
Like, it's, can I just say, look, we love talking sport, and like, I've got my knowledge of sport, but I'm going to continue to say this for the rest of my life. This guy next to me, his knowledge off the chain.
Stop glazing me, bro.
Calm down. Of like most, if not all, sports that you can think of. So if you ever, honestly, like if you're in the comments of stuff like that, ask a question in there. I'll get this guy to reply.
I'm not gonna know. Can't know everything, mate.
Yeah, but you know a hell of a lot more than I know a lot of other people do. So,
okay.
Yeah. So
recap.
I'm scared because I don't have a player yet. So, recap.
Guess the player. Rugby championship players, well, just players from rugby championship countries. Me and Dylan will get 10 questions and then 3 guesses. We may give the other hints if we desire. Dylan, I'm going to let you go first.
All right, 10 questions. All right, my first one.
Sorry. I'm going to guess yours first. Because last time...
Okay.
Yeah, do you have a player?
I do have a player in my head.
Okay, so I'm going to...
Let's go, my man.
Hit this out the park. My first question is your player from a country which competes for the Bledisloe Cup?
Well, great question, sir. Yes, it is.
Yes, okay. Now I just have to guess what side the Tasman it is. How do I do this?
Nah, all of a sudden, actually, Fiji started competing for the Bledisloe
Oh, really?
Cup.
Oh, about time, honestly. Okay.
Yes. They do compete for the Bledisloe Cup, although it's not really competition at the moment.
Are they forward or back?
They're a forward.
Ooh. Loose forward?
No.
Okay.
So that's 3.
That's 3. A bit of a pickle.
I'm going to make sure, because I will say, this guy has knowledge in sports, but both of our maths, no good.
Okay.
So if you see me on YouTube holding up my hand like this, so I can count the questions.
Yes. Are they retired?
No.
God, okay.
Actually, no, they're definitely not.
Definitely not. Are they currently playing in Super Rugby?
I'm going to say, I believe so.
Okay.
I'm going to say I'm 90% sure.
Okay.
What was that? See, I've already lost count.
That's the 5th question. That
Okay.
was the 5th one.
See your brain, mate? Told you.
Are they front row?
No.
Okay, so it's a lock. Okay,
so that's 6.
Are they Aussie or Kiwi?
They are Australian.
Australian.
Imagine I was like, they were Kiwi.
Okay.
No, they're Australian.
Aussie lock. Is this player in at least the age of 33?
At the age, as in like
currently
the team
33 or older.
Oh, currently 33 or older. I don't actually think he is.
Okay, younger guy.
I'm actually going to double check this. That question. Timo. VAR. Hold on. Just make sure you can't see it. All right. Boom. Oh, they're a year under.
A year under.
They're a year under.
Okay, so that's question 8. 32-year-old
let me
Aussie.
double check another question as well.
Oh wait.
Let me double check
he
another
doesn't
question.
play Super Rugby, but I was thinking it was the big guy, but he doesn't play Super Rugby.
No, let me go back to that question.
Oh no.
At the moment, they don't.
Okay, so I know who it is.
Oh, crap.
I know who it is.
Yeah, I know he's going to guess us straight away, Roo.
Will Skelton.
Ah, you suck.
Ah!
You suck, bro.
Go.
Oh, I knew if I said that, I was like, as soon as he asked, has he played in Europe, I was going to be like, yes, you were going to get it straight away. God, see,
Hey,
I tell you.
I didn't have a clue until you corrected yourself. And it's a good thing you corrected yourself.
I had to be fair.
Yeah.
Damn. Why do I have to be a good person?
Because I said, I did say he was currently playing Super Rugby, right?
Yeah. So, and I didn't actually know I had to go back. But yeah, no, at the moment, I believe he's playing for La Rochelle in the top 14.
I don't think he's been Super Rugby for a while, but...
So he did play Super Rugby, I'm pretty sure, either last year or the year before.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure he did because I know he moved to Europe fairly recently, but I could be wrong. But yes, that is a big guy.
I fear I've gone too niche again, but Dylan?
Okay, I'm scared.
Your time is now.
So it is a Southern Hemisphere team. Oh, am I on the chase?
Yeah.
Call
me Bradley Walsh, mate.
Okay. Do they... Oh, let's go with this question. Do they compete for the Freedom Cup?
That's us in South Africa, right?
Yes, sir.
No.
Okay. All right. So now I'm going to have to ask this question. Are they an All Black?
Dylan.
What?
You just said, do they compete for the Freedom Cup?
And you said no, but there's two cups, mate. Oh no! Okay.
I'm saving you here. I'm saving you here.
So it's an Australian. Okay.
Or
yes, or the Argentinian. But I'm going to guess because you don't want to scare me that much.
No.
It's an Australian. Is this person currently playing in Super Rugby?
No.
Okay, so it's going to be somebody older. So that's two. Or you can count three, I don't care.
That's two. I'll be nice to you.
Are they, or let's call it, actually, no, let's rephrase it and hopefully you get my phrasing.
Yes.
Were they a back?
Yes.
Okay.
That's question 3.
They were a back. Are they currently playing rugby now?
No.
Okay, so we're going throwbacks. Okay, it's a back. Ooh, okay. Would this player be known as somebody that played for Australia for quite a while?
I'd say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair play. All right. They are back. I'm going to go more specific.
But not as much as some of the Wallabies backs in that era.
Okay.
Because
I'm going to go more specific. Oh, I can't say the word Pacific.
This guy.
Did they play predominantly the winger position?
No.
Okay, so it's somebody closer to the inside. Oh, you're going to give me here, man. How many questions is that?
You got 4 more.
I got 4 more. Okay, so it's a back, played for Australia, not as much as others, but for quite a while. Oh, man, yep, you're going deep into the bag here. Going deep into the bag.
I'll say his name and you'll be like, oh my God.
Okay. Oh, okay. Are they currently... Oh, yeah, I'm going to throw this out there. Are they currently coaching a Super Rugby team?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Then my next question is, did they play fly half?
Yes.
Okay.
2 questions to go.
I've only got one name in my head. I've only got one name in my head.
Try and round this down as much as you can. You've got 2 questions.
I'm going to. So it's a 10 fly half. Okay. Okay, this is going to round it for me. Did they play at the 2003 Rugby World Cup?
No.
Okay, that takes my answer out of there.
I'm going to be nice, that was before their time.
Before their time, okay. Oh, man, this is going to have to be a guess because I was going to go Stephen Larkham.
No.
Which is a shout.
He played for a while, though. But last question, and then you get 3 guesses.
Yes. Okay, so they're not playing Super Rugby at the moment. Okay, I've got to think of my Australian number 10s now, man. That's the only one I could think of. Oh, my God, no way. Oh, my God. Wait, no.
But when I say 2003 wasn't his World Cup, only by a World Cup cycle.
Okay, so we're talking 2007 or it could be 2011. Okay, I'm going to put this out there. Was this player he played fly half 10 for Australia?
Yeah.
Did they oh no, how do I say this? Were they You know who I'm going to guess with this answer. Were they born in New Zealand?
Oh, I don't believe so. No, they were born. I'll give this one to you.
Okay.
In Brisbane.
Okay. Oh man, who's the 2007 World Cup number 10?
Also, I think he only made his debut in 2007. I don't know if he played at that World Cup specifically.
Okay, so it is 2011. Okay.
Yeah, 3 guesses. I might give you more hints along the way.
Okay, I'm going to throw it.
Because I'm a nice co-host.
I'm going to throw this name out here then. Okay.
First guess.
Is it? Oh, this is tough. Is it Quade Cooper?
It's not Quade Cooper.
Oh!
But
I thought that debut was too early.
Similar era, and I think Cooper was actually this guy's replacement at, I'm going to give this away, at the Reds.
Nah, that doesn't give away shit. Oh no, who was that 10 there before Quade Cooper? Because Quade Cooper used to piss me off back in the days.
Oh, he pissed everyone off.
Yeah.
I love him now.
Yeah, no, he's always a good rugby player, but at the same time, everybody has such a love affair for him. I'm like, dude, what? Actually, just go, I'm looking at the camera now. This is going to be my last guess.
Why? Oh, no, we've got time.
Okay. Who's maybe I'm the cry merchant. No, because all I can think of now is these like mid-level number 10s that Australia has
You
had.
might think he was a mid-level one. I remember him for some reason.
Yeah, which is probably why I don't. Who was around that time? No, you know who the name in my head keeps coming up? Who's way before this time? Yeah. It's freaking Michael Liner, bro.
Not Michael Liner.
No,
that's
now that's way before
way
the time.
back when.
But that dude was a good player.
You got 2 guesses.
I'm gonna throw this name out there. I know it's not his replacement. I know it's not this early, but I hopefully like it kind of kicks something. I'm gonna go Matt Tamura, who I know it's not.
Oh, it's not Matt Tamura, but that's later.
That is later, yeah.
So slightly before Matt Tamura.
It's that middle ground.
Good guess, sir.
It's that middle ground. I don't know. Oh no.
I'll say this guy. So I said Quade Cooper replaced him at the Reds.
Yes.
He also played at the Waratahs before a lengthy stint in Japan, and also played briefly at inside centre.
Bro, briefly played for what?
Briefly played for the Waratahs for around 3 seasons.
Yeah, then Japan.
And then Japan for a pretty decent chunk of time.
Oh, bro.
51 caps for Australia.
Bro. If you're going to throw out this name, and I'm either definitely not going to know it, or it's going to kill me for the rest of my life. It's probably over-exaggerated. It's like that middle ground. I'm trying to think.
And
2007 to 10.
This name, his name, first and last name start with the same letter.
No, I'm going to have to throw a random guess out there. You know what? I'm going to throw this name out there. I know it's not, but I'm just curious to know who it is to see if I know this person. I'm going to throw James O'Connor out there.
It's not James O'Connor, but I love James O'Connor, man.
Yeah.
This person also, before he played for the Reds, had a brief 1-year stint with the Brisbane Broncos as a teenager before converting to Union.
Oh my God, please don't tell me.
This is former Wallabies fly half, Berrick Barnes.
Now here's the thing, right? I would never have pulled out that name.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do remember the brother Berrick.
That name's always been...
brother Berrick Barnes.
And before Bone Barrett, BB was Berrick Barnes, bro.
Yeah, big facts.
I know, I went too niche again. Next time, I'm going to have to go more not as niche. I won't say mainstream because that's
but also at the same time, I'm learning as well. And this is the thing, right? Yeah. You watching, listening, whatever, like probably getting frustrated at me because I don't know this name. Yeah. But at the same time, you guys are learning as well.
Who else is going to remember Berrick Barnes?
Yeah.
I do.
You. Berrick Barnes, good old Barry Barnes.
Barry Barnes.
But man, Berrick Barnes, what a way to end it off.
What a way to end it off. And the camera's still on.
Brother Berrick Barnes. The camera is on. Let's go.
That's still on. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of CouchSide Sports Report. We'll be back in next week, same time, same place. Yep. Same vibes.
With more rants. More talking about how much we are really sad about the Blues.
The Blues could have won this weekend, and we have no idea yet.
This is a good
and
point.
we'll be coming back saying, we're going to make the 6.
Yeah.
And then we'll
Please.
get flogged by the Crusaders by
Please.
60.
Yeah, fantastic. With that being said, thank you very much for tuning in. Ka kite anō. Don't forget to follow us on the socials,
Please.
couchside.network. Go watch the TikTok because we'll have clips up again very soon.
Comment, subscribe, you know the drill.
And yeah, have fun listening and watching. And like we always say, Simon, couchside out.
CouchSide out.